What's up, guys? Welcome to AdHacking, where we will be dissecting advertising campaigns and their landing pages from some of the biggest and best brands in the world, as well as some of the smallest and companies you've never even heard of before. On today's episode, we're going to be reviewing a product called Pressboard. Pressboard is a platform built specifically for advertisers and agencies to help them get more brand awareness, as well as help them acquire new users. We're gonna review their ad unit, and we're gonna start to understand what that funnel looks like. So, the first thing that anyone looks at when you're scrolling through your feed is the actual image itself. It's the thing that catches your eye and makes you stop in your tracks. So what they did here is they've used a gradient ranging from a really nice bluish green in the upper left corner down to a really nice purple. So just from like an aesthetic feel, it does kind of catch your attention against the white background. But what it doesn't necessarily do is tell me what it does in the very breadth of the image. So I see their logo, Pressboard. I've never heard of them before, so I don't really associate with this brand. The number one platform for buying sponsored content. So for me, as someone that is a content marketer, I actually don't really know what the benefit of buying sponsored content is. So when I see this ad, while I understand what sponsored content is, I don't really know why I should be using it. I do like the fact that they have a small little get started button that is going to make you want to tap your phone or click the button to take you to the next step. Something that as we go and we look down more, what I like about this is the colors really do catch your attention and make you kind of stop and read, but it's leaving me with the feeling where I don't really understand what the software does or how my company or my agency might use it. So now let's, after you look at this core image, you then bring your eyes up to the status bar copy. And so Pressboard's new self-serve sponsored content platform has arrived. Now again, I have never heard of Pressboard. I don't know any of my friends that use this company. So telling me that Pressboard's new self-serve sponsored content platform has arrived, that's really great information for me, but I don't know who they are or what problem that they're actually solving. Now, Pressboard makes buying sponsored content easy. Oh, well, that actually makes a lot more sense. I don't necessarily need to know what the number one platform is, but telling me that Pressboard makes buying sponsored content easy, that at least will let me know what they do. And so as we get into the potential recommendations, I may actually move the number one platform for buying sponsored content down to the link headline, as it's more of a descriptive headline, whereas Pressboard makes buying sponsored content easy. I may bring that up into the actual ad unit itself for the design, because now you're telling me, okay, you're pointing out that by saying Pressboard makes buying sponsored content easy, you're inherently telling me that the way that currently I'm finding content is very hard. And so because the very first thing you see here is going to be this image, you really want to pull what your business does into that image, and those descriptive copy, like we're the number one X, Y, and Z, you want to put that down here in your kind of headline link text. So see why over 500 of the world's top advertisers and publishers trust Pressboard with their sponsored content. I do think that that's great to put some social proof. There are other design elements that you could test there. You could list a couple of those brands. So, you've mentioned on your website that you do work with some publishers like Fox Media, The Entrepreneur. Having those sorts of names down there, again, will give you some validation. But at the end of the day, so far, while I think it's visually captivating, I don't really know what I should be expecting. So let's click on the link and take us to the landing page. So when you get to the landing page, the first thing you see is a kind of an interesting influx or an interesting contrast between this yellow bar at the top, award-winning platform at the 2017 Native Advertising Awards, that's really great, but I may use some kind of a visualization, whether it's an icon or something. People tend not to like to read text if they can avoid it. So if there is kind of like a badge or something that you could put to showcase this Native Advertising Awards, and maybe even if we go to Native Advertising Awards, you can see that there is a actual kind of a icon or something that you could use. So just something to consider is if you're going to talk about kind of like an award that you've won, if that company has any sort of distinct icon or characteristic, that will help. They do have a little header bar at the top. Buy your own content placement starting today. Get my free account. Typically, companies will use this top area as like a lead magnet or a lead gen tool. So maybe you want to give away an ebook or a white paper or your 7 best tips. So just something to consider here is if people aren't clicking on this sign up button, rather than having a secondary call to action of, get my free account, which I would imagine goes to the same page, and let's go sign up. We have sent you a confirmation email. Okay, so we can go and check back that in a second, but let's come back here. And if we go on to sign up, it takes you to the same page, right? So it looks like that little top green bar only comes up for the first couple of seconds, and then if you interact with it, it goes away. Cool, so we look down here. Now, one of the things that's really interesting, you can see that Pressboard has run a UTM parameter, so we are able to track, exactly where this is coming from. So in their Google Analytics, they'll see that this click came from Facebook. We are looking for cost per click, is that CPC. This is a new account, and I'm not sure exactly what this is, but it may have something to do with the landing page I'm on, or it could just be how they've set up their UTM code. But as you come into the page, something that I noticed is that these guys, the goal is clearly for them to get people to sign up, right? This button right here, this button right here. And so one great piece of advice for anyone that's trying to get more leads and get people to fill out their form is rather than sending them to your homepage, try and send them directly to a landing page, either one that you've pre-built or something a little bit deeper down the funnel. So that they are able to be a little more isolated. Sometimes when you have all of these different tools and all of these different resources for people to click on, it can get like very overwhelming, and they end up going all over the site and they don't do the one thing you want them to do. So moving forward for other campaigns, when you're spending money on Facebook ads, like this person or this team is actually spending money for me to click on this, then you want to really make sure that you have the best opportunity to keep them as a lead. And so one of the ways to do that is to take out some of these links on your page. And now I'm not saying to remove these links from your overall website, but when you're doing paid acquisition, when you're sending traffic with ads, you want to make sure that you have as few areas for people to get distracted as possible. So as we scroll down here, the #1 platform for buying sponsored content. Drive brand awareness and acquisition by placing your brand's content on the world's most influential media publications. Okay, that sounds cool. We scroll down, sponsored content creates engaged customers. They're giving me some good stats here. I see Fast Company, so I know that they're working with certain publications that are for my sorts of audiences. Now, I may, this is kind of the crux of it, is like if I know I want to be on these publications, I want to know who those publications are way closer to the top. So if there's a way that you can somehow incorporate the different publications you have into something closer above the fold, again, that's going to earn more trust. And so without needing to necessarily scroll all the way down the page, you want to be able to showcase the companies you're working with as much as you can. The guaranteed way to raise your brand. And now what I like here is that there's really only one call to action. So even though I had mentioned there are other links to click on, there's really just a free sign up, or if you click learn more, it pushes you down the page. And each of these buttons here will all take you to the same flow and the same funnel. So that seems to be the ad to landing page flow. I would say for a company like Pressboard, if I was in their shoes, I may think about trying and testing a new ad unit similar to a lead ad, where we don't actually need to take them to a landing page, but rather we can have a little pop-up right after they click on that ad. The user's information is already pulled in from Facebook and they can submit. I hope you guys enjoyed the very first ad hacking review. Much love to the Pressboard team. Thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you on episode 2.